This company's got a great story. Miss Eller's dad started it back in '49, an immigrant from Czechoslovakia. I mean, if you need a more appropriate story about why America's great, Amanda Machine is a great story of people who work hard, who play by the rules, and who are rewarded by multiple generations of good Americans. And you know, we all know that the big companies are the ones that get most of the ink, and we do appreciate the jobs that the Toyotas and the General Dynamics and folks like that have brought to the state of Texas through the years. But we also know that the real drivers of job creation in Texas are small businesses, just like this one that we're in today. They represent the true vibrancy of the Texas economy, and they create jobs. You know, just as Andy shared with you, there are three people who are really proud that they're taking care of their families now because they got to go to work at this great company. And in Austin right now, you know, we're facing our challenges just like you all are facing around your breakfast tables and around the decision-making tables here at this business. Small businesses they've dealt with the impact of this recent global and national recession, and people are sitting around talking about how do we tighten our belts, how do we separate wants from needs, and they're making responsible decisions to live within their means. And we've got obligation as taxpayers to do the same thing. Make government more efficient, more streamlined, cutting our spending without raising taxes. We also need to balance the budget without raiding that rainy day fund. Our rainy day fund is a very valuable asset. It's like an insurance policy, if you will, against a future that continues to be uncertain, and not just on a national basis, but in a global way. Truth of the matter is, there's not any guarantees we won't be back in the same position that we find ourselves in today 2 years down the road when we come back in for the 2013 legislative session. If we use the rainy day fund to delay making those tough decisions, then all we've done is kick the can down the road. We could find ourselves facing some real emergencies in that 2013 legislative session as we're dealing with the 2014-2015 budget cycle. And I happen to believe that the rainy day fund must be used as an absolute last resort, not just as a quick fix. And I know there's no shortage of naysayers and the end is near, Armageddon is nigh. I think I've heard them all over the course of the last few months. And there are those that say, listen, you need to do what other states are doing. Dig into the pockets of the taxpayers early and often to help pay for the government that we think needs to be funded at this particular level. And some people are saying that just because they don't want to make tough decisions. They don't want to tell anyone no. Here in Texas, we know you cannot tax and spend your way to prosperity. It just doesn't work. Never has, it never will. We also know that small business owners and families across this country have already given plenty through this whole process during this recession. And that's even true here in Texas, as we're emerging from this recession in much better shape than most other states. Our job-friendly environment helped attract new employees during the decade of the 2000s. And basically what they were doing is if they were leaving overtaxed, over-regulated, over-litigated states and coming to a place where they felt like they could live and raise their families and keep more of what they worked hard for. we've allowed that type of environment to occur in the state of Texas. And listen, this isn't just me saying it. This is group after group and association after association. CNBC, they named Texas the best state for business just a few months back. Site Selection Magazine, they just announced that Texas has won the Governor's Cup for having the most new and expanded corporate facilities in the country. Our unemployment rate has consistently been below the national average. Texas employers leading the nation in job creation in 2010, and our job growth last year nearly doubled that of any of the big states, the Big Ten states. And it didn't just happen by accident. This legislative session, we've got to do everything that we can to preserve the climate that caused people to move here and to expand their business here over the last decade. And I will suggest that the most important step in making sure that we keep that climate is to keep our taxes low. Thank you. See, Andy and the rest of the elders, they get it when it comes to... Listen, if we raised your taxes, you wouldn't have been hiring those three people. I mean, that's the fact of the matter, is that these small business owners, and it is pretty simple, that's one of the reasons that I asked the legislature to make the small business tax exemption off the franchise tax permanent. So we only made it temporary for this last legislative session. That exempts 40,000 small businesses from the franchise tax. That's a huge deal to those small, getting started on their feet businesses. We also need to take the next step in tort reform. You heard Andy talk about the phrase "loser pays," and that simply says those who file a frivolous lawsuit and lose are required to pay the court cost and the legal expenses of those they have sued. A very simple, straightforward approach to our legal system that frankly will work, and it will work extremely well. It would help further improve the legal climate in our state, helping small business owners. It'll create more wealth for these small businesses. It'll create more jobs, and they can hire more people, like Andy said, instead of throwing their money away on unnecessary legal fees. So I think it's very important for us to have this discussion about how we continue to make Texas job friendly, and particularly on the legal front, and pass loser pays this session.